Greetings and welcome back to yet another edition of the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show here at Quaker Steak and Lube, where, they will be setting up the wing buffet. Slowly but surely, dear Goon, we are getting back to life as we knew it. The so-called normal life, which for you and I is pretty abnormal, but one which we enjoyed greatly before the pandemic, and it does feel like with each passing day we're getting just a little bit closer again to some semblance of normalcy, or at least regularity with
especially pretty
life.
funny people calling you. They're coming out for weekends here and there. I had some friends in this weekend.
Yeah.
Hey, what's the mask code up there? And I'm like, I don't even know. I really don't even know. Just put one in your pocket. If you need to wear it, wear. You're vaccinated. You should be okay, but you never know who the hell people are sometimes. And you've been out without one yet and getting mean mugged?
I haven't.
Yeah. I don't know if it's because I'm such a bright and shiny and just a good guy. The old ladies look at me and they're like, wow, why aren't you wearing a mask, fat boy? Or they're just very worried about my health. I don't know what it is.
I think it's just
they just love my
sheer
physical
concern.
beauty, and they just stare at me in awe of the sheer size of me, and they're petrified, or the fact that they're on the mask. I don't know. No, it's a weird world, man. So we had friends in this weekend. It was a whole, what's the policies and this and that, and then I'm like, downtown's different than out of town. I think. I don't know. Is it? I don't know what everybody's doing, and some restaurants do, some restaurants don't.
Yeah.
Some supermarkets do and don't. It's just crazy. But yes, slowly but surely it's getting back. I had ticket talk this weekend, Ironhead.
Yes. It's a beautiful thing.
Oh, yeah. That's when you start knowing. Ordered a new grill.
Oh.
Ooh, baby. Got my new grill, I should say. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
36-inch flat top.
Oh, sweet.
Blackstone one. So not for my tailgate. This is for my home use only. Yeah. So I have the Weber, and then the big Weber, and then I have the 36 next to it, the flat top Blackstone. I'm gonna be a hibachi.
It's the way to do it.
Cooking mofo this summer, buddy.
But when do you want me over?
Anytime you want.
Nope, that sounds pretty good. Quick note, and I've been intending to let you and Pooch know ahead of time, but surprise. Sorry, I will not be here next week. We're family vacation down to North Carolina next week, so I'll be here Thursday, but then we'll miss the next couple of shows as we make our annual trek to Holden Beach down on the southern end of North Carolina.
This is the time of year when it's the Goon and Ironhead show with neither Goon nor Ironhead.
Yeah. Yeah. It is interesting that the way trying to make summer plans right now, and like you said, everybody's kind of we have relatives that live down in Philadelphia. Everybody's just anxious to get back into the flow of things and start to actually interact with other human beings. And I have a cousin who has a couple of boys who are right around my nephew's ages, and they've been good friends, since they were tots. But my cousin called up. She said, never in, and I think they're now 17 and 15 or so, never in their lives have they asked to have family outings. They've always been very gracious, good about it, but they are like, please, can we get up to State College and get my nephews in for a weekend here at some point this summer. So, we're trying to coordinate that. The thing is now, you're working with parents' work schedules. Now you're working with kids' work schedules. So both my cousin's boys, and she also has a daughter who's doing some babysitting. My nephews are both now working, and their stepbrother and stepsister are also now working this summer. So trying to get everything coordinated. Of course, everybody already has some summer plans in place, and it's like, trying to get something planned for even just a local get together with a couple of friends. It's just it's a challenge because again, everybody is wanting. Hey, I'm penciling for this weekend, and more and more events are being held now. So you're trying to factor in that, and it's you turn around and all of a sudden the summer is pretty well booked. Like we have something that we're doing just about every weekend throughout the remainder of the summer, which I guess in a lot of ways is good, but
I have
it's nice
7
to have
weddings this summer, buddy.
I always think of summer as, it should be downtime, and it doesn't feel, and again, listen, it's get-togethers and events that we're looking forward to type stuff, so I don't want to make it sound, but it's just like there's not a lot of days there where it's like, yeah, we'll just see what happens and let it flow. It's most of the at least a day of most weekends is now already accounted for.
We got 7 weddings, 3 of which have been
that's crazy
backed up. It's 2 years of weddings.
Well,
that's what's going on. So we had a wedding this past weekend. We went. It was their 3rd attempt.
Wow.
To get married. They have already been married on paper for almost a year.
Yeah.
And then they got married physically. They renewed their vows after 53 weeks and a pandemic later. And 2 attempts. This was their 3rd attempt at having the wedding, and they had it. So that's my 2nd one that happened this year. We have multiple ones more this year. Again, 2 of which were last year's weddings that were booked to this year. And yeah. So like I said, we were just busy and the whole downtime. And it's just funny because it was like, all right, we have to go down to Philadelphia this weekend or down outside of Philadelphia. College graduation for my niece and nephew. Last week was a wedding, and then my other niece and nephew's 21st birthday. So I told Carrie, I said, next weekend we're not doing anything. Don't tell me we're here and this and that. And then I forgot I have a golf tournament. I got to be down at the Jordan Hill golf tournament next Sunday on Father's Day. We're going down. So
nice,
crazy. And then, but the bottom line is that you're talking about North Carolina.
Yep.
And I had that trip to the Barbados was set up, but we had to cancel it today. Today we just decided to pull the plug on it and just put all our efforts into next year because it's just too much right now. People are very skeptical to leave the country, especially go to a smaller island nation, and I understand that's why we pulled the plug on it. But so we're like, all right, that week opened up for us. Let's look at North Carolina. So a lot of people who are going to go, it's full. There's not one thing in August in North Carolina. It's because what you just said.
Yeah,
everybody in their world has all these. They're just get me out of the house. Let's go do this. We have 2 years to catch up on everything we wanted to do. So we're going. Yep. So we're going to the Bahamas in the first week of August, just because everything was booked up where we normally go.
Yeah,
but it's a good thing. I mean, it is. It is good to be back to normal. It's great talking about tailgating and Friday nights of Penn State football games, what we're going to be doing, and getting some stuff set up here and there for it, brother.
Yeah, looking forward to that. Looking forward to the to high school sports and being able to Friday night lights is also something very special that has been missed. And bunch of friends had seniors graduating over the last week or so, and it is when you stop and think with those kids in particular. The seniors this year now, like State College, a lot of them are now able to have the ceremonies. Last year, obviously, that was not the case. But for this year, last year's class, I guess it sucks for both of them. But really, you basically had the last 2 years of your school just kind of screwed up in a pretty significant way. I don't know. I do feel for them, and I do. We're starting to see more and more in terms of numbers with suicide rates and depression issues and all kinds of additional trickle down or whatever you want to call it effects. Side effects, if you will, of the pandemic, significant side effects.
The truth. There's no lying about that. That is the absolute truth.
And and even from an economic standpoint, I've read a couple of different articles over the weekend, and like everything, I guess. It's hitting different businesses different ways, and even in the same area, it can affect very differently businesses. And I just I really am curious to see what happens over the next year with the economy and with kind of where we're at with everything moving forward. I mean, I think it's going to take another year to kind of, okay, let's get a handle on what the long-term real impact and effects were here of all of the decisions made. And, well, I guess we'll assess and kind of figure out it at that point. But it's
who we're going to blame? Who's going to get the finger pointed at them? Because that seems all our society does now is just blame other people. Pack it up, move it on. Let's go.
Yep.
Let's trudge forward. Let's get through it all together, in my opinion.
Yep.
Head.
Speaking of just trying to get through.
I got to get through.
Yeah, go ahead.
Olympics. Is wrestling a whole 2-week thing, or is it like track the second week, or is it like
it's basically one. It's like a 3-day period where they get pretty much everything in. Yeah.
Hopefully, I'll be away on this. I mean, we can watch this.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was just talking with somebody in the know about kind of how they were handling it, and it is going to be interesting. So the wrestling team, and I suspect the wrestling team is not alone in this, is not going to, and this isn't necessarily anything new. I know it in Rio, the wrestling team did not stay in the Olympic Village. They had kind of their own little area that they brought everything to Rio. Yeah. Obviously not pandemic related, but any
health issues.
Yes, I wanting to make sure everybody was as healthy and ready to go as they could. So they brought all of their own food down, all of their own training, and they were staying separate. And it's going to be much the same, this time around for different reasons, I think. But I am concerned about these games, and I know there's still a lot of discussion that there are a lot of people in Japan who still think these games won't happen and shouldn't happen this year. And the thing is, it is difficult to kind of really, because they are having significant outbreaks there and in much of the world still. And I think sometimes we get, and I think all humans do, but I think Americans are especially good at being myopic, and yours truly included, in thinking, well, why would the summer games be in any kind of jeopardy? We're on the downside. Well, yeah, here in the United States we are. Not the case. Some places of the world are just now starting to hit the peak here and see some real issues, and and it is going. I mean, I think the games are going to be held. I think there's going to be very few, if any, fans that will be permitted at most of the venues.
I expect zero.
And you're just hoping against hope, right? That they can get through it without any major problems. I mean, you're always hoping that, I guess, because pandemic aside, there's always concern of other issues arising to ruin the Olympic Games, and it's just one of those things because there's so much excitement around it, and you want to again see the best have a chance to compete against the best and have that opportunity, especially after postponing for a year. So you just hope that everything does go off, relatively speaking, without a hitch. There is a push. I don't know how if any traction it's gained. There is a push in Japan to push it back another year. I can't. I mean, I guess if push comes to shove, and you at this point you can't move it to another location, right? This summer, like that is something that I think was being looked at and as a plan B. I don't think you can get a plan B together for this Summer Olympics at this point.
State College is wide open,
so I think it's either it either does go in Tokyo this year or it. I don't know if you can. Again, postponing it and then only having 2 years till the next Olympiad. I don't know. That just doesn't feel right. So, I mean, this is problematic enough, but that's I don't know. Like I said, I think we're going to have it. Whether or not it becomes a less than stellar games, I guess is still the question that's in play in my mind.
So if they would postpone it to next year, would the team stay together or would they have more trials?
Well, I mean, it would be up to each country. I think here in the U.S., they would likely roll with it, but
do you think Stevenson's going to hold off another year?
I don't know. I mean, that's the thing. Like with all of this stuff, I don't know. I mean, all of that stuff, just as it did last year. I mean, it impacts and affects a wide range of things. I was talking to somebody with the NCAA and the decision to give the extra year to student athletes. And again, I think we talked about this a little bit, but like Penn State, really, I mean, Nick Lee is really the only
Penn State guy.
Significant wrestler whose career is altered with this. But like Iowa, again, if they bring everybody back, the money that's involved there, both for another year of scholarship, but also for, as we've talked about, the food, the training, all of the things that go into it. And then you start compounding that with all of the different sports. It's just, this next year is just going to be very, very interesting to follow how everything continues and financially. Again, I had a buddy who went to a Byers game this past weekend and said, that it was just amazing, the prices there, and not unexpectedly, but he's like, it just, when you stop and think about why in the world, if you're a Pirates fan, you're going to pay, you're going to pay at least $50 when you factor in and that's on the really low end of things. When you factor in just parking and ticket, right? That gets you there. Now, if you factor in anything else, I mean, it very quickly gets to, $100 plus outing for one person, let alone, the old traditional family of four.
Yep.
You're looking, probably $150 to $200.
And that's actually
for a pretty low key day at a major league ballpark. And again, if you're a Pirates fan, I mean, that's really what you want to do with your money, is go spend it watching this team this season. Again, I get it's a beautiful park. It is.
Absolutely.
The announcers keep hammering that home. God bless them. And I love Greg Brown, but man, if you've been listening to the calls of the game, it is, well, and again, you've got to talk about what you have to sell. They're employees of the Pirates. I mean, I completely get it. But, man, thank God for the Diamondbacks, by the way. At least there's a team that will be competing for the very bottom rung of the basement in the National League this season.
Buccos aside, I have to ask you this before we get off the wrestling topic, and I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So, my personal opinion, and you will know, obviously, the answer, I think that the year delay helped David Taylor with his ACL and all.
Yeah. For sure.
Significantly.
No, and I do think that U.S. team, the
Pan Am games were a joke.
Well, if you didn't see that, the U.S. swept and not just swept, I mean, and dominated.
They allow point?
The Pan Am games. And the thing is, again, I think this has a chance. Let me put it this way. I think that this team has a chance to get more hardware than any U.S. Olympic wrestling team it ever has. They just, Taylor, Dake, Snyder, you start there with those three. And I think those three, in my mind, those three are favored to win gold in Tokyo.
Stevenson, no?
And Stevenson, it's just, he does not have a ton of the international experience. I mean, he certainly is, again, a phenom. truthfully, I haven't seen enough of him against the other. I mean, I just based on who he is and what he does, yes, he'd be right up there. But until you see him actually compete against some of these other top contenders, jury's out a little bit on that. Taylor, Dake, Snyder, and Dake have all beaten all of these guys over the course of their careers, and Taylor now in the last couple of years has also put together a pretty impressive resume in terms of wins over world medalists and champions and Olympic medalists and right on down the line. So again, the U.S. team overall, I think with the
what was the most dominant Olympic team? Other than
the
'84, when Russia.
Yeah, I'd have to go. I don't know that we've won more than 2 gold.
Okay.
As the U.S. in one genre of wrestling. Like I'm thinking of free. When I talk wrestling, I'm thinking of U.S. freestyle. But yeah, if you went back and combined, freestyle and Greco, we have not had a ton of success in the U.S. with Greco-Roman at the Olympics as a team. Certainly we've had some great individuals over the years, but yeah, I'm excited about the games, but it's one of those things we were just talking about. I'm not sure how much I'm actually normally in years past. One, I've been single, no kids, and 2, my schedule, I can usually kind of free up for those 2 weeks, relatively speaking. I'm not sure that's going to be the case this year. I'm looking forward to it. I'm just not sure how much I'm actually going to be glued to the TV the way I normally am for the Olympic coverage. Wrestling, I'll be watching no matter what.
2 in the morning, though, wouldn't it be?
Yeah, I'll be watching that no matter what.
Oh man.
But
we'll watch party at Ironhead's house.
But overall, it's
going to be, right?
It's going to be interesting.
Middle of the morning for us, right?
Yeah, I don't even. I have to. I'm not sure
exactly
what the
time
difference is and when
to see when the boys wrestle
competition is, but that should be a whole lot of fun. That's for sure.
They're going to have it. They got to do it. I think they backed it up 2 years because next year would be the Summer Olympics anyway, and they're not going to try and do the same Olympics. They did that for how many decades, and they learned their lesson now.
With the winter and summer being
the same year. So I don't know. I mean, you need an arena, a couple hotels, and they're going to test them up and this and that. I mean, they got to be there for what? They're probably going to be there a whole month probably before, maybe. Oh yeah, so you got to really, I guess. So I go back to. Remember when Fitz was the strength coach of the Texans? Yep. And I tell the story all the time that, like, the NFL is like, oh, by the way, the Texans are going to play the San Francisco 49ers or the Dallas Cowboys in Mexico City. And they're like, okay, you guys got a game next Sunday or whatever. You're going to play Sunday night on national television in Mexico City. And, they had, like, a whole time to prepare for it, obviously, with the schedule. But they were just, like, talking like it was like, ho-hum, we're just going to go to London and play this game. It's Mexico City. So Fitz said they had to pack up every ounce of tape, water, food. Oh yeah, this and that. The whole weight room. They wanted nothing to do with outside. The outside. This is before a pandemic. This was just you didn't want to eat the water and the security stuff down there. You can't really eat the food down there that too much or the water because you're only there for 3 days. You don't want to get sick, so you don't want your guys to get sick, and you worry about next week. And he said what they had to do is they packed the whole building up from meal. From breakfast till midnight, every day they had to get all these guys fed and everything they had to bring down there. I can't imagine having to do this with the Olympic team. Yeah, when you start thinking about all of the different teams and all of the different needs, you tell me about wrestling and their needs. That's a needy bunch, man. I mean, no offense, but it is. Well, yeah, that's the nature of the beast. Football is, throw a couple pigs and a couple steers on a spit, they're going to eat it and be happy. Yeah. But all these different sports, gymnastics. Well, I guess that's that. Yeah, gymnastics and all of them are the track athletes. They're all different diets, and I guess me just saying, oh, we'll have them. Get a couple hotels. I mean, you got 1,000 members, athletes, and how many people working? And geez, Louise, now I'm thinking about it. That could get ugly. There could be another the breakout, I guess you'd say.
Did watch, by the way, I'm not a gymnastics expert by any stretch, but to the naked eye, I gotta Simone Biles seems like she's okay. She's a pretty decent
when they
gymnast.
broke her floor routine down, and I never seen anything like it in my life. I don't know how she stood up, how her legs didn't snap, and how high she was jumping and flipping around. I could not believe what I was witnessing. I was like,
she's pretty remarkable. I'm not sure. You always get in danger when you start talking about, well, we're never going to see anything like that again. But I think I'm going to have to see it before I believe there's going to be another person that can do quite what she can do in terms of just the sheer power with the grace. I mean, there's not, when it comes to sports that are judged, right? To me, it's really difficult to start saying one is, when you start comparing different eras, that hey, this one is clearly above, even in team sports, right? I mean, it's hard to compare because they're just asked to do such different things.
True.
A quarterback in the Johnny Unitas with a Peyton Manning. I mean, well, they're being asked to do entirely different things. And so, for their eras, you can say that what you want. I'm telling you, Simone Biles in any era is here. And the rest of, name the other great gymnasts, Nadia Comaneci and the, Mary Lou Retton. I mean, all down, next level down, clearly a level down though. I mean, it's just incredible watching her and how easy, and it's what the great ones in anything do, right? Michael Jordan, you go watch him play basketball, you're like, oh man, that looks fun. You go out and it's like, wait, how the hell but they make it look easy. David Taylor makes wrestling look like it's simple. Yeah, you just reach out, grab the guy's ankle and take him down. Sure. Then you go out there and you try it. It's like, wait, how in the hell does he get to that ankle? How in the world does anybody get their body to flow like that? And man, watching her is just it's breathtaking, and there's not many athletes that you just truly can't take your eyes off of, because you know that you're seeing something that you may in this case likely will never see again.
But I love social media for one thing, and that's the comedy and it's the ball busting that goes on in routines and stuff like that. So they're showing that video of her doing this in slow motion. And somebody says that's easily the best USA Olympic athlete since, and they showed her the Saturday Night Live video of John Belushi when he was eating the little donuts.
Oh,
smoking a cigarette, eating the little chocolate donuts. I mean, that is why the internet is here. I'm sorry, but that is why. It was. I still once you said that, I remember all the comments that were coming. And best U.S. athlete since John Belushi.
Belushi never got his due as a great Olympic athlete.
I mean, he was as good as an athlete as Farley was as a weather forecaster, Unbelievable.
We will take a break here. When we come back, we'll talk some Stanley Cup playoffs, talk some Penn State sports. Micah Shrewsbury, I will say, is off to I realize I haven't played a game yet. That's where the proof will be. But, man, I do like, to this point, everything he's done and all of the acquisitions to the program from a personnel standpoint. I think he is certainly off to a very good running start. We'll talk about that and much more as we continue with the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show right after this.
The State College Spikes are back home tonight at 6:35 to take on the Williamsport Crosscutters. It's a $2 Tuesday at the ballpark. Get into the park with $2 outfield bleacher seats. Then enjoy $2 walking tacos, hot dogs, and popcorn all night long. Plus, 16-ounce Miller Lite and Coors Light drafts are $2 each from 5:30 to 7:30. It's $2 Tuesday at 6:35 against the Crosscutters. For tickets, call 814-272-1711 or buy and download at statecollegespikes.com.
Lion Country Kia is offering exceptional deals on your new Kia during Kia's Command the Season event.
We have a nice selection on the 2021 Kia Sportage with various options and prices as low as $26,800, saving you $3,000. Or if you demand big power and towing capacity, slip into one of the 2021 Kia Sorrentos available on our lot, starting at $32,680.
Discover why Kia drivers throughout the area come to Lion Country Kia or visit online at lioncountrykia.com.
Quaker Steak and Lube is throwing open the garage doors and setting up the umbrellas. It's patio season. Come enjoy great food, drinks, and fun in the sun. There's always something happening at Quaker Steak and Lube, but we're really amping up our event calendars for our favorite time of year. Visit thelube.com to find out what's happening at your local lube this season. Lunch, happy hour, dinner, or late night, indoors or outside, at Quaker Steak and Lube, you'll always find big flavors, friendly faces, and lots of fun.
Hi, Johnny Broom here. If you're in the market for a new Hyundai or a pre-owned car, truck, van, or SUV, nobody beats a Blaze Alexander deal. But don't take my word for it.
Hey, Goon says, tell him Johnny sent you.
Hey, tell him Johnny sent ya.
Tell him Johnny sent you.
Wait, tell him Juan or tell him Johnny sent you?
Tell him Johnny sent you.
Here at Bill Pickles Tap Room, we say,
Tell him Johnny sent you.
and remember,
And we welcome you back into the Lion Country Kia Goon and Ironhead show as the Stanley Cup playoffs continue. To talk some hockey here in a second. Did want to just congratulations to Micah Hancock and Haley Washington.
Speaking of Olympics.
Couple of Penn State alums who made the U.S. Olympic team. I guess it's pending whatever the final approval is, but they're heading to Tokyo. Well, we presume, and congratulations. I will say, Hancock was one of those players that just was easy to root for because she came in and there was an adjustment period. And I don't know. I talked about this with Kassar. There's just something, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you that. I mean, she was great from the get-go. I don't want to make it sound like she came from nowhere, but you talk about somebody who just grew as a player, as a person. I mean, and you could just kind of see it through the interviews and throughout her collegiate career. And she's just she's a remarkable person as well as a remarkable athlete. Had a chance to we actually had her in our radio studio and had a chance to talk with her dad for a little while. He came in that morning, and as is so often the case, I mean, you see why the great ones are great, and it's because they're raised by great parents, right. And parents who really get the big picture stuff. But and Haley Washington was another one. She was one of those that you loved watching her, the joy with which she competed, and she was somebody who just had that infectious enthusiasm. So very cool stuff for the Penn State women's volleyball program.
She came here. What they came here was right after like the 6 All-Americans on the one team.
Yeah.
So I mean, they had a lot of shoes to fill, and you're right. She progressed. I mean, I love watching women's volleyball as much as you do. I mean, I really enjoy it. But you watch her when she was young. There was a lot of pressure on her and this and that. But as she grew and got older and this and that, took over that leadership role and just like put the back on her team, it was pretty damn awesome to watch. So good for her. Congratulations. Yeah, and again, I'm sure at some point we'll get the overall tabulation of Olympians from Penn State in the games this summer. But it is cool when you get to see athletes that you know or followed and get to see them kind of on the ultimate stage. Just special. I got to see something this week at Ironhead that was pretty damn cool. And that is that I have a very good friend of mine came in from Chicago with his son for a recruiting weekend up here for football.
Yep.
And there was some Letterman football weekend here and this and that. I didn't get involved with that. So I was more of just my buddy's kid is trying to get recruited here, so went to a football camp. And I pretty much went through the recruiting process over again and how it was being done and stuff like that. One, different than 30 years ago, and 2 is under these circumstances what they have to do, coaching-wise, school-wise, and player-wise. There's a lot of onus put on these kids to come prepared and ready to go.
Yeah.
But I just saw it from the the parents' friend side of it, and it's pretty damn amazing how much different it is. I mean, my friend Scott played at Illinois, and we were talking about his trips and my recruiting trips, and he was just like party, and these guys are actually going there, and they're literally running, jumping, benching 40s, doing a football camp, and I'm like, it's 188 degrees out here on Sunday, and we're still these kids are still out there. And he flies back to Chicago, plays a baseball game last night. Now he's at Northwestern today, another baseball game tomorrow, and then he's at Illinois on Thursday doing all. I'm like, man, I'd love to have the energy of that kid. But it was really interesting, and how we're recruiting right now. James and his staff, what they're talking about is absolutely specifically what I want talked about. I mean, if I was a father and it was my kid going there, or a mother, I would definitely want my son there, type of thing.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't football. It was not football. And it wasn't, you want to hear party, you want to go, you want your social nightlife, you want this or that. This ain't the place for you. Because I want every one of you in this room to be a 3.5 year guy, go to the NFL. But he goes, I'll tell you right now, if you don't leave with a degree, I'm going to put my foot in your ass.
Yeah.
He goes, everybody who comes here is leaving with a degree. I'm sorry. And that's the bottom line. So I was very, I got sold on it pretty good, man.
Yeah.
I was very, very happy about everything's done. And as an alumnus and as a fan of Penn State, we're doing all right, boys and girls.
Yep. Also big news on the basketball front. And again, I really, we'll see again. Everything has to play out. But I will say Shrewsbury is making a really good first impression here with, again, not the way he presents himself, but to this point, and again, we'll see how it all actually comes together. But boy, it sure feels like he has put together a terrific staff, kind of checking all of the marks, and now they're getting the player. We talked about it. Had no idea what this team is going to look like next year after going through another coaching change and everybody in the transfer portal. Well, you're starting to get, and again, you got to see how it all comes together. But man, they are dressing again. Need here, need there. Oh, need a big man though. My God, they got to get a forward or front court play. Yep, got him, Greg Lee, and it just feels like he came in with a plan.
Yep, and
is really good at executing the plan. And again, it's been a while since I've been this optimistic with a first-year new head coach. And listen, when Chambers was hired, I was fired up and all on board, but thought it would take a little while. And by the way, I'm not saying if Shrewsbury isn't successful here, they don't go to the tournament the first year, that it's not a good hire or anything like that. But I'm starting to think that this may be a team that right out of the gate is where I thought it would take at least 5 years to get to after what has occurred here over the last year and a half.
What time is it and what day is it? Boots, put this down. Me and Ironhead are actually agreeing that the transfer portal can work in certain circumstances. And that's the absolute God's honest truth right there.
Yeah.
I mean, much as we love Pat, but we knew that Pat had years before he could get this back on the track. So here's a guy, Coach Shrewsbury comes in here and has a goal, has an aim, this is what we're going to do, and goes out and does it. And he's using the transfer portal. I mean, Boots made the comment as soon as the day he was hired. He's going to have it's going to be. I'm not knocking the man. I'm not knocking anything about him. But it's a lot easier job than starting from scratch and going out and getting high school kids, because he could have these guys transferring in here. They could have a great year. They could finish, maybe go to the tournament, and then it's a lot easier to walk into a high school.
Yep.
You're not going into a high school, Pat. Well, 5-20 record as a rookie. Whatever he was. Hey, we want you at Penn State. Yeah, okay, yeah. Next coach, please. But, the transfer portal will help out in these circumstances.
Yep. It was obviously vital that they get some transfers in. But again, it feels like, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you I'm not enough of a basketball fan to tell you I ever heard of Greg Lee before the announcement of him coming here. But in reading up and looking at some of the highlights and stuff, hard to not be excited about the possibilities here. And again, yes, a lot of these are short-term solutions, but with the hand he was dealt, that's what you needed. The point is they're solutions. And listen, I think if you can have kind of bridge the gap here, get a good couple of years, and I don't know what good is. We can argue about the definition of good, but if they are competitive and in the hunt for an NCAA tournament berth in either of the next 2 years, and I really now think they will be, then, as you said, Goon, then it becomes an easier process, not easy, easier process to go about building for the long-term success. But as we keep talking about, Goon, the reality is this is college athletics now. This isn't just with the circumstances that Penn State has. This is what college basketball, college football is going to be every year. Listen, we have a need here. Yes, we're going to look at getting somebody, really good from the high school front, but you better believe we're going to be checking the transfer portal. And if there's somebody that's already established that can fill the need that we have, well, yeah, duh. Yeah, you got to go get them. That's, again, it's a different world, but it's one that these guys have to adapt to, and I think Shrewsbury seems very adept at it, at least with the early indications are. And again, I'm excited, much more excited than I thought I would be at this stage of I was certainly willing to give Shrewsbury, again, it wasn't anything against him. It's like, but it's Penn State basketball. It's going to take a while, and I don't know how this is all going to come together. And we have a lot of people that are understandably bitter about what has occurred here over the last year and a half within the program. And I just think he has come in and said, "Listen, I'm sorry about." He hasn't said this, but in essence, nothing sorry about everything that's happened in the past. Has nothing to do with me. I'm here to do this, and we got to move forward. And this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to do it. And boy, to this point, he is executing to a very high degree. And again, it feels like this was a really good hire.
Yeah, and you just think I was talking to my buddy Scott this weekend. We were both Division I football players, and talking about the transfer portal because we had some guys in town. We were talking about it, and Coach was talking about it over the weekend, and. As a player, I'm not going to say I was an athlete or a student athlete. I was a player. And then people say, well, that's an easy way for coaches to run players out. And it's just going to say, hey, you're not going to play here. But I'm going to tell you, as an athlete, you knew your first year and a half, can I play here?
Yeah.
That's any sport. You get a kid coming in the wrestling room and he can't, he's getting absolutely destroyed every day. He's not picking it up. You could tell if he has a future. If he's young, he's not strong enough, he can get there. But mentally if you can or can't do it. I tell a story. My younger brother walked on at Penn State. He had Division I AA scholarships. My dad said to him, we will pay you for a year to go. We'll pay for one season, and then you're going to know. And I said, yes, you'll know if you could play here because it's a lot easier to transfer down to a Division I AA than it is from right. 1AA to Division I.
Yeah.
So, we told him, my parents said, you got 1 year, then you'll know. And then, Joe told him that, you got him, and when I'm off scholarship, he's on it. So that's what happened with us. But you knew. Yeah. There's no doubt about it. And then, like we were talking, like, again, I go back to what, well, people constantly say, well, it's an easy way for coaches to get rid of players that aren't going to play. And you're like, well, the kid's not going to play. He's not going to play. Coach was always honest with everybody about that. Whether you transfer it or not, or transfer it or transfer, maybe it's more out in the open who's in the transfer portal and who's not.
Well, and I'll tell you,
guys trying to leave,
and coaches. I'm not going to give names, but there was a player who came through at Penn State and had a good career, and went to Joe to ask him about, NFL prospects and, I could help him. And Joe said, listen, you're a really good athlete, but you're not an NFL athlete. And he was more than a little upset at that, and felt that Joe wasn't supporting him. And Joe's, in essence said, it's not that I'm not supporting you. It's that I know, I mean, again, it has nothing to do. It's not personal. It's just, this is,
you're a great player for us.
So he went about, I'm going to prove him wrong, and he got invited. I think he did go to 2 camps and never, I'm not even sure if he ever played a preseason game, but never made a roster. And truthfully, that's to me, that's what you want. I don't know if you want to call it running off or whatever, but you want the coach to be honest. There are, and listen, do you want, the other thing is just to be honest, if you, because there are guys, right? I mean, you can't have a team that is all starters. Right, that doesn't work either. You have to have some guys that are willing to bust their butt, knowing that it's at least unlikely that they're going to be getting, that certainly they're going to be a star, but unlikely that they're going to get a lot of playing time. But that they're there. You talk to Cal about the guys in the wrestling room that, you need to be where Penn State is. You need the David Taylors and the Bo Nichols and the Carter Starachis to be there. But you better have some guys that are willing to grind and be there anytime those guys want a workout partner and be able to go hard, even if not at that level. Or those guys, again, you can't have a room full of Carter Starachis. They don't exist. But what you need is guys that have the right mindset, that are in there to compete as hard as they can and to get better and see how far that can take them. And sometimes, it does take you a little further than what you thought you were capable of, or even a coach. But, coaches, people that are around the sport, as you said, Goon, I mean, you know early on that, listen, yep, this guy's really talented, but this isn't how it's going to play out.
Too.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're the ones who know.
Yeah. And that's
you're to know when you go in that wrestling room. Like, all right, you just wrestled David Taylor. I got you. He's one of the best in Penn State ever produced. But are you going against the third team guy at that weight and not really even competing against him?
Right.
Then it's like, then
Yeah.
I mean, it's a crapshoot. And just to go back to the point of what I was saying about recruiting and this and that is like, it is a whole different ball game now. I mean, it's the days of 105 scholarships when I was here, when Scott was playing, years before me, unlimited, and Nebraska having 150 guys on scholarship, and their famed walk-on program were hometown scholarships. So now let's say you have 190 scholarships.
Real quick, NHL playoffs.
Love them.
I think we don't have a lot of time left to talk about. We do have a few minutes here. Yeah. It's agonizing that the Penguins aren't in it for me, and I know it's agonizing for you. The Flyers aren't in it. But
hold on,
man,
would you rather? Can you get into these playoffs after the Penguins got beat?
Not as much as I would be if
the Penguins hadn't even gotten in, they'd be more interested. I think.
That is probably true.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's probably true.
But it stinks that your team's not there, my team's not there, but it's absolutely fantastic hockey going on right now.
Yeah, they're showing now that the Canadians, Jets.
So we were laughing off the air about the Canadian hockey. They had that COVID scare, so they were still playing games, and the East and the South were playing Stanley Cup playoff games.
Yeah,
it's funny how that all caught up right now with Montreal.
Yes, it is.
2 sweeps in a row. So. There's not much hockey in Canada for another week or so. I don't know what the Canucks are going to do, man. But, yeah, I love it. I mean, I absolutely love it. Just a fantastic what's going on. And I don't know. My other Penguins fans get very pissed off when they see Fleury doing very, very well.
Yeah, I don't get upset about that. I always was, still am a Fleury fan.
Oh, I mean, because how your goalie played is what
no, I know,
saying,
but I'm saying, but they're upset at him. I'm like, don't be upset at him. Like the organization was the one that decided to move on, and that's fine. But man, I'm telling you, Fleury is pretty darn good. I mean, I'm not gonna,
I'm going back to the bad goal in the overtime for
Yep.
the Penguins.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
mad that they have that guy and not Fleury in there. Again, you can't keep 3 $25 million players.
No,
I saw something yesterday, by the way.
Yeah.
Sidney Crosby is now the highest paid athlete to ever play hockey with all his contractual money. Pretty unbelievable.
Yeah.
He made $189 million, I think is what I read.
It's
That's what his contract
pretty
paid
good
him,
coin.
and believe Gretzky got like $50 million over his career type of thing. Gordie Howe got $800,000 and 2 jackets. But yeah, so
I think they did.
Cool.
I think he also did get a meatball sub. I think Gordy did.
Oh, it's Detroit, so good pizza. I bet he has a lifetime pizza. Jets pizza left for lifetime for Gordy.
He ought to have lifetime pizza.
No, but the Tampa Bay Carolina series is nasty. Boston and the Islanders is really nasty.
Yeah, that one is.
There's some cutthroat stuff going on.
That's
there.
brutal.
And I did see the Boston coach got $25,000 fine just because. It was like people on social media were like, "Well, here comes complaining in 3, 2, 1," and on cue they go to the Boston head coach, and he's ranting and raving, crying the whole damn time.
Yeah.
Man, but it's I hate the Islanders. I hate the Bruins. I don't care about any of them, but I don't. It's a good series to watch, but I just hate anything New York. I can't stand. But then Boston, I think, has already spoiled enough, and it's an angry man.
Yeah.
But what's your right now? Who do you think?
It's hard not to think Montreal, right?
Really?
With the way they're playing right now?
There's too much pressure in Canada.
There is a lot of pressure. There's no question about that. But the way they're, it's not just that they're winning. They are just playing terrific hockey at both ends. I don't know. I'd have a hard time betting against them right now. I don't know. What's your gut telling you?
I think Carolina Tampa Bay is going to be the final. And
if
Tampa, that's the final, I don't care who you are, and if you've never watched hockey in your life, if it's Colorado and Tampa, if that is your Stanley Cup final, you need to become a hockey fan for as many games as that series, because that will be probably one of the best series we've ever seen in a long time.
Yeah, I am. Yes, Tampa's offense is just good God. And they seem to utilize their firepower even a little better than the Penguins. Did this year. They just they have a knack for finding the back of the net when they need to, which the Penguins did not have, at least in the Islanders series for sure. Yeah, that's a really skilled Tampa team. Colorado. I don't know. I'm really impressed with the way Montreal is playing right now. But as we've talked about, the thing with the Stanley Cup playoffs is each series is unto itself, right? And we've seen teams that have had and Montreal obviously has all kinds of momentum. Am I going to be absolutely shocked if they get swept in the next round? Well, no, I won't be. And same would go for any of these teams. Surprised, yes, it's surprised. But not shocked, because it's hockey and we see really goofy things happen.
Winnipeg just swept the Edmonton Oilers, and they go out and then they get swept.
Yeah.
You're right. Every series is different. It is amazing in itself. They're fantastic, and what happened last night of them sweeping? So now they're not going to play for at least a week. That's
and that can work.
Yeah,
I was just going to say that can work either way too. But
they're playing so good right now that this might just knock them out of their little, put them into a funk maybe.
Yeah, they are in rhythm right now. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, buddy.
Unlike the Pirates,
they're awesome, man.
Not in rhythm. It was a fun. I happened to watch the extra inning, which they tried to give away. And I'm like, you know what? I think I'm good for another week. I'm going to take that. They win it. I'm good. I feel happy about it. I been debating whether or not because I do love. I mean, I love Pittsburgh. I love going to the games and all that. But so I talked to my buddy. I'm like, I can't. I just can't go down there this summer and go to support that organization. I can't. And if somebody gives me free tickets and says bring the fam, I will probably break that vow. But I have. I really have hatred in my heart.
You could be a Phillies fan
for the way that organization
a lot more money for that
is being run. And I think was it the Post-Gazette or the Tribune? One of them ran an op-ed, which is like, he needs to sell, but he's not going to. So what? And Major League Baseball should step in, but it won't. I mean, if it was going to, it would have already, right? So that. Again, the great frustration as a Pirates fan is there's no way out here because there's no reason for Nutting to sell because he's making money hand over fist, right? I mean, so from a business standpoint, this is working exactly the way he needs it to. It would be insane for him to sell right now. From a personal standpoint, and he has already shown that he doesn't give a rat's ass about the city or the fans, or he would sell or invest in trying to put out a championship team. So, that's the frustrating thing is I don't think any of this is going to change over the course of the next decade and maybe many decades to come as a Pirates fan. And again, what's going to happen is that, yes, at some point they're going to have a good young team grow into being a playoff contender. They'll get a couple of years, people will be excited again, and then we go through the whole process all over because, again, they're never going to make that extra move or two to build an actual championship team. Just very frustrating.
I just got to give you these 2 cents here. That is that State College Spikes are in dire need of concession stand workers. So if anybody needs a job or anything like that, be a good job for the next couple of months.
Fun job,
exactly right. So get a hold of the State College Spikes at statecollegespikes.com. Get in there. They are hiring and they're looking for people. So wanted to say that.
And with that, we will see you again on Thursday. Until then, be good and be safe. Thanks for joining us.
Woo. The State College Spikes are back home tonight at 6:35 to take on the Williamsport Crosscutters. It's a $2 Tuesday at the ballpark. Get into the park with $2 outfield bleacher seats. Then enjoy $2 walking tacos, hot dogs, and popcorn all night long. Plus, 16-ounce Miller Lite and Coors Light drafts are $2 each from 5:30 to 7:30. It's $2 Tuesday at 6:35 against the Crosscutters. For tickets, call 814-272-1711 or buy and download at statecollegespikes.com.
Lion Country Kia is offering exceptional deals on your new Kia during Kia's Command the Season event.
We have a nice selection on the 2021 Kia Sportage with various options and prices as low as $26,800, saving you $3,000. Or if you demand big power and towing capacity, slip into one of the 2021 Kia Sorrentos available on our lot, starting at $32,680.
Discover why Kia drivers throughout the area come to Lion Country Kia or visit online at lioncountrykia.com.
Quaker Steak and Lube is throwing open the garage doors and setting up the umbrellas. It's patio season. Come enjoy great food, drinks, and fun in the sun. There's always something happening at Quaker Steak and Lube, but we're really amping up our event calendars for our favorite time of year. Visit thelube.com to find out what's happening at your local lube this season. Lunch, happy hour, dinner, or late night, indoors or outside, at Quaker Steak and Lube, you'll always find big flavors, friendly faces, and lots of fun.
Hi, Johnny Broom here. If you're in the market for a new Hyundai or a pre-owned car, truck, van, or SUV, nobody beats a Blaze Alexander deal. But don't take my word for it.
Hey, Goon says tell him Johnny sent you.
Hey, tell him Johnny sent ya.
Tell him Johnny sent you.
Wait, tell him Juan or tell him Johnny sent you?
Tell him Johnny sent you.
Here at Bill Pickle's Tap Room, we say,
tell him Johnny sent you.
And remember,